let's talk about games that have already come out this year, boys.
I like games.
You like games? If you like games so much, Marty,
Oh no. F.
why don't you marry?
I don't like games.
I want to talk about our PC game of the year.
Ooh.
Everyone at IGN has been talking about we're at the halfway point of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We're through July now. What is the game, like the one that stands out for you this year that is like, this is the best thing I've played on PC all year?
Ooh. So the two things I immediately went to are sort of cheats because one's not done and one was halfway done last year. So it's Broken Age Act 2, which is now I guess the complete. It's just Broken Age.
Yeah.
Which I thought Act 2 wasn't quite as strong as Act 1, but I thought Act 1 was probably my favorite game of last year. So, that's
okay. So your game of the year 2 years in a row was the same thing. Cool.
But yeah, just as someone who grew up on old school adventure games, and especially a lot of them that Tim Schafer made, it's a game that I just thought was gorgeous and smart and funny, and I really dug the puzzles and just absolutely adored those characters.
I agree with some of that. I'm not to just dump on your choice, but I think that game is really pretty and really funny. Like Tim Schafer makes games that I think are among the funniest in the world, and games that I just can't play.
Yeah,
point and click is just so not for me. I don't know why that genre never clicked for me. I tried so hard to play through Broken Age.
Did it point and click for you?
I was gonna let it lie.
Nope. This will be Dan's first and last episode of IGN Overclocked. But yeah, the puzzles and stuff. I got to the point where, like, every point-and-click game, I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, forget it. I'm done. I'm going to play something that respects my time.
You're a victim of what's called adventure game logic.
Yeah. But I totally understand. Like, that game is so cool. And I love watching the documentary of how they made that. It's just such a fascinating, cool project.
Like, anyone who has, watching the 20 parts of the, was it Player 2?
Yep,
documentary.
Player 2 Productions.
Yeah, that just it's one of the best insights into game dev and the horrors that go behind making any video game. So that, and then sort of along the same lines, it's not done yet, but Tales from the Borderlands. I think 2 of the episodes have released this year.
Yeah.
One was last year, I believe.
Yep. It was I think December, March.
Yeah. So episode 2 and 3 are among some of my favorite things Telltale's done yet.
Yeah.
And that's coming from someone who I like Borderlands 2, but like I'm not crazy about it. And
you don't care about the world?
I don't really care about the world too much. And so going into it...
What about Handsome Jack?
He's a real handsome boy.
He's so handsome.
But going into this, I was like assuming... I was like, oh, whatever. But then I play it, and I'm like, oh, man, you don't have to care about Borderlands in order to like this. It's just like an amazing Western con story that, again, is super funny. And again, the characters, after 3 episodes, I'm just like, all right, I love
every single one of
all these characters in the best way. And yeah, I mean, we have 2 episodes left. I think Telltale said they're going to wrap up in 2015.
Believe it, want to see it.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my twosies so far.
Pretty good picks.
Yeah, I haven't played a ton of Witcher yet. I've really liked what I've played of Witcher so far.
Yeah. That's a game I wish I had more time.
I've played like 10 hours of it.
Someday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just started kind of cracking into it. Although I guess there's the 1.7 patch coming out, 1.07 patch coming out pretty soon, which is supposed to add a bunch of fixes for a bunch of problems. So
cool.
Maybe I'll wait for that.
Yeah, they've got a really good stream of DLC for that. That's just free.
Yep.
Plus they have the expansion coming this year.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad because I think the 2 biggest PC games out this year so far I haven't really played very much of. One of them is Witcher, and the other is Pillars of Eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Which
did that really come out this year? I thought it was
March.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. I was going back over the list last night. I'm like, wow, that was not super long ago, but. They're already talking about the expansion and everything. But I think the best PC game I've played this year is probably Cities Skylines.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Yeah. Man, another one I forgot came out this year, and another one that I forgot was really good.
Yeah, and it's getting steadily better. They're putting out free content for it, which is nice.
Great mod support. Like the community's making a lot of really good, useful, fun things for that.
Yep. Yeah. If you like city builders, that is the one you should buy.
Wow. And if I'm assuming if the port was super solid, that would be right up there with you because you gave 9.2, right?
Yeah. I love that game. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I played some of the PC version. Because it does work.
Yeah.
For most people, I have an NVIDIA card that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah.
But the tank battles are kind of funny on PC because. You can very easily target
whatever you want.
Well, they've got all the tanks have a little glowing bit on them, and you can kill them with the Vulcan cannon, not the main gun, the Vulcan cannon. Yeah. So I've gone through tank battles just going boop, 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 taking them all out with the Vulcan cannon.
Just booping them.
Never,
Classic Batman.
Never fired the main gun.
That's amazing.
So, but the performance problems are a little bit, they're still pronounced. Like it still stutters. It's still, I still get some weird glitches, and it's still at 30 frames a second.
I like that we all have weird, esoteric choices. Like
I say Dota 2, you monster.
Dota 2 is a game that does exist in this year of our Lord 2015.
Dota 2 Reborn.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming, Marty. It's in beta. No, I think it's cool that our game of the year isn't as simple as, it's Batman, the big AAA thing, or The Witcher, the big AAA thing. Like, you have this adventure game that finished up, or this other one. Like, you have this city building sim. Like, all these are really good PC games, and I think Her Story is the coolest, most unexpected thing I have played in a long time.
I liked Her Story a lot, although I foresee that becoming kind of a mini game that we see in AAA games.
Oh my God, I would be so okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I would too, because I like it a lot. I like that mechanic. Just that trail of breadcrumbs it leaves. It's like, they said this, I'll look for that, and they said that, and I'll look for
really
this.
So I bet a lot of folks don't know what Her Story is.
Okay, so Her Story is I started that and I'm like 2D, 3D, first person, third person. Like, I don't know, man. The premise of this game is you are investigating a murder mystery, and everything else outside of that you don't really know, and you just kind of discover by operating a computer in the game. Like, the entire game takes place with you at a keyboard punching in words and dissecting an interview that has been chopped up into tons and tons and tons of little pieces.
Which, why would they do that? But anyway.
Yeah, well, there is a narrative explanation like, the tapes were corrupted, or then they're all broken up. But basically, it is a series of videos that you then sift through by searching single words, double words, whatever, names, places, terms, things like that. And in the transcript of the interviews, it draws from that, and you feel like, okay, I'm going to search murder. It finds every instance of the word murder in these interviews with this woman who may or may not have killed her husband, and there may or may not be other stuff going on. And it starts out innocuous enough, you're like, let's find out what the murder is all about. But you discover more about her as a person and her life and her
story,
problems and her story. And it is a fascinating narrative about a person and problems and life that I've just really enjoyed. I also think it's the smartest detective game there is.
Ooh,
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is really good. Batman is obviously really good, but this does such different, cool things. You are actually investigating. You're playing this role of someone who is getting captivated by this story, and I ended up having like pages and pages of serial killer notes.
I loved, I feel like the only times that's happened recently is like Device 6 and Fez. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to like hear her mention, like, you'll be on the trail of something and you're into it and you're like, man, she's talking a lot about this topic, and I'm not going to spoil anything because just please play Her Story and figure it out for yourself. And she'll make a passing mention of something else or someone else or an event that happened, and it's clearly significant because there's nothing in this game that is just there for no reason.
Yeah.
And you make a note of it, and you make another note of something else, and you just end up pages of names and places and weird stuff that happened. And I found that game incredible from top to bottom. As soon as I finished it, I wanted to go back and start over, knowing what I know now to learn more.
Super cool. That's a cheapie, right?
Yeah, it's like $5-10.
That's cheapie. That's a cheapie of the week.
Cheapie of the week.